Hello and welcome back to another video. However much of this you're going to hear is possible, I don't know. But in today's video, it's another feeding video. We're going giving the cattle meal, but this one is going to be slightly different to the last one, as in me and the owl man came up with a new invention. Because you might have seen when we're feeding the weanlings here, when we're trying to place the trough, either the cattle will pull the trough towards them, or the three bullocks here will pull the trough towards them, and then either the weanlings on this side won't get meal because they would have it pulled over to them, or the weanlings this side won't get any meal because the cows will have pulled it towards them, and we'd have to either push the trough up close to the bullocks and stand up at the bullocks to keep them back from pulling the trough, or vice versa, have the trough more towards the cows and have someone standing at the cows to keep them back from pushing the trough towards them. And the same situation here when we have the two troughs there, when we have the trough there and the second trough there. These two cows here, more particular that reddy one there, would stick her head out. The second trough would end somewhere here. This red cow would stick her head out, put her snout at the wood here and start pulling the trough towards her, which is not what we want. So me and the owl man butt our heads together and thought of a solution to fix this. So if there's only one man feeding, like I am now every morning, that we can put something up to stop them from pulling the trough towards them and away from the ones that need the meal. And that the person then can go off and do another job instead of having to stand up, keeping whatever back. So we made up this. It's just a bit of, I think it was off some sort of like TG drawing table, technical graphics drawing table, and a very, very old one that just was disintegrating. So we took the wooden board off that. We got these sort of iron rods, bent of course, and we stapled the iron rods to the wooden board using staples, and then we welded the staple to the iron rod to stop these from moving side to side like that. And all you do is you hang that onto the barrier, and then that should stop whatever, the cows or the bullocks from pushing the trough when we're feeding the weanlings, or it'll stop the cows here from sticking their heads out and pulling the trough towards them when feeding the heifers. So I'll set up the camera somewhere. I have two cameras with me now. I have my old one, which I'm using now, and I have my new one, which I'll set up then I'll set this camera up to show you how effective the system is, and then I'll set up the other camera when I'm doing something else, whether I'll be graping silage or cleaning out the pens, just to show you that when that is hanging on the barriers, that I'm actually away. I'm not even near the cattle. I'm not interfering with anything. I'm not interfering with how that works. So yeah, anyways, we'll fill a couple of buckets of meal and we'll start giving these their meal, and I can start showing you how effective and how well this works. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, up. Okay, so that's them fed. You've seen me giving them their meal. You've seen the board here in action. This thing right here, you've seen that in action. And I also set up my other camera, my new one, so that however I edit this, I should have, you should see the cattle eating the meal while the board at work, at the same time as me cleaning out the pens here and giving silage into the barrels as well. You should see all that at the same time. But yeah, you've seen how this thing works. It's all right. It doesn't work 100%, I know that much, but it does work to keep them back. Sometimes this big brute here, this, you know, this big C word here, might start headbutting this, and every time he headbutts it and headbutts it and headbutts it, it'll slide on this, on the barriers, because it's steel on steel. And once there's a little gap, once he finds a little gap in the opening between the girder and it, he'll stick his nose in and push it this way. But and any time that we are feeding the weanlings here and we have to close this gate up against the girder, we try and keep him back to the wall as possible, and let these two here at the front, because they don't tend to bother that much. It's only that big brute there that tends to get a bit feisty and just doesn't like this thing one bit at all. But that's bulls for you, and bullocks. These are bullocks. So yeah, the other thing is, when we're feeding the 6 weanlings here, I do tend to keep a lot of some of the trough overlapping these guys here, as you may have seen in the video clip, away from the cows, so that the cows kind of drag it towards them, away from the weanlings, if you know what I mean. So I keep it more, the trough more up this way. And sometimes when I do that, any weanling that's at the back here tends to push it more towards him, and in that way he's pushing it more towards the cows, and then the cows pull up towards them, if you know what I mean. Because I'm keeping the trough more up this way, but I'm giving them enough room. He should have enough room to stick his snout in here, but obviously they're bullocks, they're lads, they're feisty and greedy and all of the above, so he'll start pulling it more towards him so he gets more meal, and then he's pulling it towards the cows, and then they start pulling it towards them. That's the only downfall to that there, and him being a bit of a C word. But yeah, it works very well over here when we're giving the meal to the heifers. It works very well. These 2 cows don't bother. This cow tends to just look over the barrier or look over the gate, but they don't seem to bother this too much. Unlike the big brute there, they don't tend to headbutt it and get a bit feisty over it, and you know, they accept that it's there, and they kind of get towards the meal, which is handy. And now that's the whole purpose of it. We can stick the board up there when feeding the heifers, as I mentioned at the start of the video, and vice versa as well over here. And then I can go off and clean pens or give silage or fill water, instead of having to stand here keeping these back when they're getting the meal, or standing over at the 2 cows here keeping them back while the heifers are getting the meal. I don't have to be wasting that time. I can go and do other jobs and get the morning feeding routine done more quickly than just standing about keeping the bullocks back or standing about keeping the cows back. It's just more, it's more efficient. Yeah, I'm getting more jobs done. I'm hitting 2 birds with the 1 stone, if you wish. But while I'm here, and while these 2 guys, ladies, girls, made a feature in the video, I'll show you how the calf is doing. Calf is doing very well, very lively, up and about, sucking the cow, no bother, getting its milk. Easy. Now, we're feeding this cow here. We used to feed this cow 2 scoops of high yield dairy nuts, but then she's not too bad, but you can see a bit of it there. She started getting very watery skitter. So, and there's more just underneath her there, very watery skitter. So we decided to give her 1 scoop of high yield dairy nuts mixed with 1 scoop of 303 beef nuts to see was it just the dairy nuts that was making her a bit skittery. But I don't know, I don't see much of an improvement. She's still fairly skittery. And the calf is lively anyways, he's getting enough milk. She's getting her high yield dairy nuts so that she's producing milk to feed the calf, which is a win-win situation. Yeah, she's still fairly skittery. And again, over underneath her there, she's still a bit skittery for some reason. You can see more there. A bit skittery, just a small bit. And you also seen that I was able to clean out the weanling bullock here while I was giving them their meal, because I wasn't standing about, having to wait for whoever to finish their meal before I could start cleaning the bullock out. Because before we had that board, I had to be standing, you know, either here keeping these lads back or over there keeping the cows back until the weanlings or the heifers finished their meal. I would have to do all the meal stuff first, then grape all the silage and do all the silage and stuff, and then clean out the pens and all that. But now with the board, I can be graping silage while they're eating their meal. I can be cleaning out the pens while they're eating their meal. I can be filling barrels of water while they're eating their meal. It just makes life a whole lot easier. And I don't know how we didn't think of that way before now, because it was just an absolute nightmare having to just stand up until all the meal was fed and finished and ate, and then go ahead and do the other jobs. But yeah, that's that. The board is working well, and I'm very happy with it. I'm very pleased with it. So she gets 1 bucket, 1 scoop of high yield dairy nuts, 1 scoop of 303 beef nuts once a day. This lad here gets 1 scoop of 303 nuts twice a day, morning and evening. These guys haven't changed. As I mentioned, I done a meal feeding routine video before. Nothing has changed here. They still get about half a bucket to 3/4 a bucket of 303. These guys get half a bucket of 303, and the heifers get a full bucket of 303 in the 2 troughs. Nothing has changed there. But anyways, that is going to be the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave down in the comment sections what you think of this and how it can be improved. Because although it does work, it's not 100% there. It's like any other invention out there. It doesn't work 100%. There's always room for improvement. But for now, it's making my life way easier when feeding the meal around the shed to the cattle, and I can go off and do other jobs instead of having to stand around watching cattle so they don't move the trough or anything like that. But anyways, please do leave down in the comment sections what you think of this, how it can be improved, and you know, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Check out my merch, be linked down in the description, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Take care.